Used to. Used to is a combination of words used to express an action in the past that happened over and over again, but is no longer done anymore, or at least in the same way. For example, in high school, I used to practice soccer almost every day to improve my skills. A second way to use used to is to talk about a past fact that is no longer true. For example, my family used to live in Germany. So, in both cases of using used to, we use the phrase used to plus any verb. So, I used to play. I used to cook. I used to live. So, used to plus any verb. Let's look at a few more examples. She used to study every night before she started dating him. We used to live in Malaysia. When I was little, I used to climb trees with my neighbor. When they were young, they used to live in New York City. Would is another word we use to talk about past actions. In the same way that used to, the first definition that we used, it talks about a past action that occurred repeatedly, but no longer occurs in the same way. All right, and in this case, we do not use would to express a state of being or to talk about possession. States of being refers to how you are at a given moment. For example, you would not say, I would be sick when I was a kid. I would love apples in college. Nor would you use would to refer to possession. For example, you would not say, I would have a soccer ball with me wherever I went. In these cases, used to is the correct way to talk about past facts that are no longer true. So using that last example, I used to have a soccer ball with me wherever I went. So would is combined with an action verb. Would plus action verb. Let's look at some examples. She would study every night before she started dating him. Just like used to, would also applies here because we're talking about a past action that would happen repeatedly but is no longer happening in the same way. When I was little, I would climb trees with my neighbor. Would and used to also both apply here. My grandfather always tells me he would walk to school in the snow. So would, again, is referring to a past action that my grandfather used to do, but no longer does. English most often uses used to and would to talk about past repeated actions. Usually, people use used to introduce the setting of a story, and they use would to talk about all the details of that story. Would is not used for non-actions. So remember, used to can be connected with any verb, and would is connected with action verbs. All right, let's review. What are two ways that you can use used to describe past actions? Number one, used to can be used to describe past repeated actions that no longer happen now or in the same way. Number two, used to can be used to describe a past fact that is no longer true. What is different about using would to talk about past actions? Yes, would is connected with any action verb, but not any verb in general. Used to plus any verb, would plus action verb. Is this sentence correct? When I was young, I would love soda. That is incorrect. When I was young, I used to love soda. Would, it should be connected with an action verb. And to love or hate something is more related to a state of being. I love this, I hate this. So, therefore, we would say I used to love soda.